and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're having a look at what we were up to throughout July. So we kicked off the month with a visit from Clanline. Unfortunately it wasn't the best weather, but we had many visitors turn out to witness the coaling, watering and turning on our turntable. Following Clanline's visit, it was time for our Stations in Bloom competition entry. This takes place across the South Western Railway and Great Western Railway, where all of our gardening gets judged and compared to other stations in the region. So if we kick things off here with Wessex wagons. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, you can obviously pop into our shop and look at our wagons, but we also have them on our website. And if you scroll down through and go on to our Wessex wagons page, you will be able to see, along with our shop, we do offer online sales. And if we go down through, we can see exactly where we're going to be, where you can find us at a variety of model shows, and we can go through and look at all of the existing wagons that we have. So we will certainly look to do a full video on this, but we do have a little bit of history and a little bit of information and pictures of each of our wagons that we currently have for sale. So yes, please keep an eye on the website and of course in our shop, and yeah, see what range of Wessex wagons we have available for you. The main task on the model railway this month has been ongoing cleaning and ensuring that all of the rolling stock is operating correctly. In particular with the building work and dust on site, keeping it all clean and up together is a constant ongoing task. Hello? Oh, you want to know more about railway telephones? Yep, and signalling. Yep, I'm sure we can find that in our museum. Ah, thank you. Bye bye. So, yeah, you may have guessed today's topic in the museum is looking at some of our signalling phones. So after Neil's little look last month at Albert's shovel, I thought it was my turn to find something in the museum that I think is particularly interesting. Now, this links into one of the projects I have been involved with for the last few years, and that is working on the charge junction signalling project. And some people may have seen this. Now, to the casual observer, it's a standard old telephone. However, this is actually a signalling telephone. It came from Salisbury Station. So yeah, it does need some work doing on it. We do have a little project to get it working again as part of our signalling display, but I thought I would take you through some of the quirks really with this item. So depending on how this unit is configured depends on what channels we're actively going to utilize. In this case, we have 3 channels plus an additional 2 signalmen. I'm not an expert on this equipment. I'm assuming these first 3 are other signal boxes, but I stand to be corrected on that one. And essentially, we can, instead of dialing up our telephone, we can simply get a line on hold. And then, for example, we want to speak to signal A, for example, we can count across and pull down the relevant button. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, 1, 2, 3. Particularly interesting is the fact that the basic principles of our signalling telephone and the overall layout didn't really change for a long time. The first unit we looked at was essentially of timber and bakelite construction. But we move forward to this unit here. This is 2009 and fitted to the charge junction signal panel. Now, the basic principles are still the same in the fact that instead of having to dial numbers, we have essentially each other signal box or area that we would need to contact on a simple illuminating push button, so we know when we're in touch with them. And then we have our manual telephone as well that we can use to dial any external numbers. So yeah, it's really interesting. You look back over, say, 50 years almost, say, well, yeah, about 50 years of technology, and certainly in terms of rail telephones and signalling phones, in this case, the overall concept of it and the overall design isn't actually that dissimilar. So that's why I've picked these 2 items as my museum picks of the month.
Okay, so I'm here with Dean, one of the volunteers at Yeovil Railway Centre. Hi, Dean.
Oh yeah. Neil?
So, Dean, how long have you been volunteering at Yeovil Railway Centre?
Between 4 and 5 years. Can't really remember, but I did a big stint at Cranmore for a long time before I came here, so I'm well versed in.
Okay, so an experienced volunteer.
Yes.
Excellent, good. So, what is your role here?
Sort of making things, fixing the engines, generally helping out where we need help.
Yeah.
Yeah, general bog study.
Excellent. So, it's the sort of volunteer who not just likes to get involved and get your hands dirty and get stuck in.
Yeah, I don't like coming not to do anything.
That's what we like to hear, because there's lots to do at the Railway Centre. There's always jobs to be done.
Something to do. Yeah.
So, what do you think of the benefits of volunteering?
Right. Several answers to that one. It's good for your soul. It's something I enjoy. Coming from a railway family background, it sort of keeps that going. Comradeship.
Yeah.
Learning new skills. Teaching people old skills. Yeah, it's just a good crack. It's, if you ain't got much to do, or just become retired, there's somewhere to go on a Tuesday as well. So, yeah, it's better than staying at home and being miserable.
Exactly, and that's what I find as well, that you can come here and you can learn new skills, meet new people, and as Dean says, it's better than sitting at home watching the telly. So
and we're all
good
friends here, and we have a bit of a crack with each other and a bit of a laugh and a
Yeah.
joke. So
yeah,
why not?
Definitely, it's really good for well, these days people would say it's good for your mental health, and it genuinely is. That's very true.
Yeah.
And okay, Dean, and the last question is there anything specifically about Yeovil Railway Centre that you like?
It's close to home, relatively close to home, which is a bonus. Very friendly, and it's not too big.
Yeah.
Some of these big railways, if you go there, you just become a number, so to speak. Here, you're part of a good team.
Yeah.
We haven't got mass ideas to go running into Weymouth or anything. We're doing an extension, and I think that's going to be plenty enough for us because of our small, I say small society, small railway, but we don't go above our where we should be.
Yeah.
The more you have, the more you have to pay for.
Yeah, and maintain.
Yeah, so this makes it self-sufficient, really.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, Dean, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil. Right, here we have Sam. It's a Fowler diesel. Been here for many years, but it hasn't got any vacuum brakes, so it's not compatible to run on passenger services. So currently we're fitting a vacuum system to it. You can see all of these new pipes. We're going to use a donkey engine, and this is the vacuum pump we're installing. We might have another one coming next week, which will be a bit bigger, so I'm just holding off for that for a minute or two. Yeah, everything we do here, we don't buy in much. We buy in just fittings because we can't make them, but we try and make everything ourselves, which is a bit nicer, gives you something to do and more of a project.
So yeah, unfortunately through the month we have had a few mechanical issues. Obviously at the very end of July, over our tractor weekend, one of the fuel lines one of the joints on the fuel line on Cockney Rebel behind me decided that it wanted to start weeping. So that was a additional repair that we had to make, rejoint through that bit of fuel line that had already been replaced, and then of course do a full service and oil change. Now with these particular engines, unlike for example a lot of tractors that I'll show you in a minute, the fuel pumps are inboard to the crankcase, so any leaking either on the injector pumps or the fuel line itself going to the injector pumps drains straight into the sump and dilutes the oil. You can only really pick up the fault when you're checking the oil level, and then you find that the oil is actually going up, which is normally diesel dilution. Kit and the team on the wagon restoration are busy continuing work on the oyster van. Now this has been a substantial job with major pieces of the timber framework having to be replaced and predominantly new cladding having to be fitted. Along with our turntable day, we had one of our largest events of the year outside of Christmas, and that is our ever popular tractor weekend. We were pleased this year to have an abundance of stationary engines and a very interesting exhibit of Tilly lamps. That certainly made for an interesting photographic evening. If you have a Land Rover or tractor or similar exhibit that you would like to bring up to our 2025 show, please feel free to get in touch and look at bringing it along. with both our steam engine running and Cockney Rebel serving as the lunchtime shuttle service. The day was very successful, but we are always looking to continue building this event.
Memory lane, down memory lane. I hear it.
The Ramblings of a Wagon Restorer, July 2009. I am pleased to report that the new mess hut is now in use and has recently been modified in light of user experience. After vast amounts of spilled tea and coffee, the doors have been rehung to open outwards. It is pleasant in there when the sun is shining and the doors are wide open. The black wagon next to the Class 50 has had end paintwork refreshed. The Sutton Bingham sign is progressing, however the immediate focus of attention is the decking around the control area of the turntable. This will be replaced and the adjacent steel structure cleaned and repainted. We are hoping the weather will be kind to us as we plan to fit this work in around train days, etc. Roger Snelling, a recent addition to the team, and I have completed some of it, but we did start on the more straightforward part. The remainder is more complicated, with the access panel to the twin-cylinder motor, a cutout for the drive wheel, and the support for the roof to be accommodated. There has been some visible progress on the company Fowler. The buffer beams are now complete with buffers and draw gear at both ends. There is an abundance of wildlife at the junction. I've seen bats, foxes, rabbits, buzzard, and heard woodpeckers at work. But recently I've seen a blue tit entering the Class 50, presumably raising a family. One way or another, there is never a dull moment. So, thank you for watching this video, both from Neil and myself and the rest of the volunteers here at Yeovil Railway Centre. Please like and subscribe to our channel and follow along for future updates to see what's going on up at the junction.